Nicole Scherzinger was standing right there when I walked out, and a crowd of fans like in a semicircle around her in this beautiful gown. And I was just walking by my business, and I was just in my head, and I was like, oh man, this was my shot, and I felt like I did good. So I was knocking myself a lot. I will never forget, she came out of her circle, and she said, hey y'all, hold on a second. And she said, hey, what's your chin at? She's like, you have nothing to be ashamed of. She's like, I think you are an awesome talent, and I'm going to remember you. It's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when I see you again. And she's like, I'm going to remember you. She's like, don't let this get you down. This is not the end. This is just the beginning.
Words matter with John Maurice. Hey everybody, I'm John Maurice, and welcome to my show, Words Matter. Today I have a special guest. He is a friend. He is a coworker. He is a singer, songwriter, actor, you name it. But most of all, he is an amazing human being. Please give it up for my friend, Saya.
I got one thing to say, y'all. Polar Pop!
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Polar Pop.
I watched it. I was dead. And then I said this thing, and I was like, he's right. Polar Pop.
Wow, that was a good curveball.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
I was like, okay, I had to tell him how because I literally watched, I was just guffawing the whole night watching that 7-minute clip. I was like, he made a whole, because like you said, you weren't planning to do anything, and you just riffed. It was great.
Yeah, and on the way up, I was just like, I was listening to the commercial, and he was just singing Polar Pop. I was like, who is that singing? You know, I was like, yo, he had a lot of soul, and he put his everything into that commercial. This is it.
He
Polar
did.
Pop. And I was like, yo, it made me want to go get a Polar Pop.
I'm telling you.
So, you know, I'd asked my ex at the time, she was coming to the show. I was like, yo, stop off and bring me a Polar Pop.
Yeah.
And before you go up, I asked the DJ to play that commercial. He looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, what? I was just like, just do it, you know? Yeah. But did you see the other stand-up?
No, well, it's weird. The one that I saw, it looked like the same one, but then the announcer said for the first time.
Right, that was the first one with the hat.
Yeah, with the hat.
And then the second one was the Polar Pop.
Yeah.
That was a transition from singing and then trying to find what do I do now, and then I got into the stand-up comedy.
It was amazing. I would never, had you not told me that, like you said, singing was the first thing and then comedy was like something that I could add on, I never would have known. I thought both would have been a primary. Yeah, no, I've always
wanted to, you know, do movies and be funny and stuff like that. Yeah. But, you know, seeing Eddie Murphy, you know, in Raw or, you know, Chris Rock, so many, Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence, you just look and it's like, man, that's greatness.
Yeah.
And I never thought that there would be an avenue for me, even though you see it and you're like, man, I love to do that. But when I moved from Jersey to Florida and was at the Improv, I had the opportunity to do a class. And that was a great transition for me because I wanted to be on stage. And there was nobody knocking for me to perform anywhere or trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Networking is important. I didn't have the network to be able to, you know, get gigs.
Yeah.
And so when I moved to Florida, it came up and I was just like, I love Jamie Foxx. So I was like, I'd be like, Jamie Foxx, do some comedy, do some singing, and hopefully, you know, he was genius in figuring out how to do both of his loves. The comedy, it took later for him to, you know, get the credibility and people to take him seriously with his music, but he did it. So hopefully, you know, it'll happen before I say I'm done and hang my hat up. I'll do some singing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But hopefully I'll get to your level one day, you know?
Stop it.
That's the goal, you know? So we're going to tell everybody we're here for you, not for me. This is not my story. This is your story.
It all started with Polar Pop, but okay.
Polar Pop. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Actually, I need to go back to that.
You should.
I should.
Like, I would hashtag that, and you should, like, even, like, shirts, like, Polar Pop, because the way you do it, it sounds like a soundbite. It's cool.
Really?
Like a Polar Pop, like something like on, like, ringtones or whatnot. Seriously,
thought about
just
it.
like Polar Pop.
Multiple streams. You
Because
heard
there's
it
an
here.
earworm. And I was like, oh, this is
So you
funny.
know what? So if I do it, I'll give you a percentage.
Okay.
Because it was birthed through you.
Okay,
So
bet.
we'll work it out.
I appreciate
And so
that.
if you push it, you know you're getting a piece of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We'll do it.
Okay.
You
Bet.
You serious?
I'm serious.
Let's shake
I'm
on
so
it.
serious.
All right, we're here on your episode.
Right here. You saw it here.
I shouldn't have said we would get $10 million. I was like, I gotta give how much? No, I'm gonna split. No, half is better than none.
Yeah.
So
Can we talk about it?
let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Now.
Okay. Yeah.
Where do I want to start? I don't want to start like when you started when a little kid, but
Yeah.
how are things now? Where are you now? What's your happiness?
Ooh, I love that question. What is my happiness? My happiness is being minimalist in approach, where I focus on the things that I do have versus the things that I don't.
Say that again. Minimalist in approach.
I'm a minimalist in approach where I focus on the things that I do have versus the things that I don't. It's really easy to sink into depression when you think about the things that you could have had. And then you get anxiety about the things that you used to have. And I spent so much of my life grooming myself musically. I put a lot of energy into that to be the greatest thing that ever was. And my biggest fear has always been becoming the greatest thing that never was.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much for any artist, where it kind of lies in the back of your mind of, am I deluded? Is this really going to pay off?
Why
And
do I feel this way?
Why do I feel
does it
this
keep
way?
coming back?
Yeah.
Just go away if you're not going to let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, and my dad said it best, he said, only really 3% of people in show business really make it. The other fall by the wayside, they let their dreams die. And you just never realize that if you had just pushed a little harder, even for another year, another week, what have you, that would have been your call to fame. That would have been your opportunity. And what has been my challenge is learning to be patient with the universe, to understand that it's not my will be done, but it's thy will be done. And I was so caught up in the mechanics of, well, it has to be this. Well, I got to get on David Letterman, or I've got to get on these shows and I got to be seen.
Right.
Not realizing that my job is to only give energy to what I want it to happen and then allow the universe to bring it back to me. It's like the old, what is this? Okay, I'm going to screw this up.
No,
You know
no.
the Bible story where the guy was waiting for God to come down. And then God's like sends a helicopter. He sends a boat.
Oh, yeah.
And then
he
he's like,
dies.
And, well, I was waiting for you to come. He's like, well, I sent you this stuff. So that's how I'm looking at it as far as opportunities. Where when I did X Factor in particular, I got depressed immediately after I got kicked off the show. So at the time, there were people kind of knocking on the door, but they wanted me to do like a commercial to do a backflip. I'm like, I can't do a backflip right now. It's just like, I don't.
Backflip.
Yeah, they wanted me they wanted to do corny stuff, and I was too serious of an artist. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
At that stage. But when you get older, you start knowing life is about enjoying the moment.
Yes.
And not being cool, but just being free.
Yeah.
To do and act. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And we get caught up. I understand.
Yeah.
You preaching right now, man. I'm like, man, is he reading my I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you manage? I mean, people are calling, but you get depressed. You got off, but there's opportunity now.
Yeah.
What was your thought? Because I got asked to do The Voice.
Okay.
And I didn't. I thought I was greater and better than. I've given you all of these songs, and but you understanding the business, I didn't understand it at the time. I didn't have a following. Nobody knew who I was. They're not putting the money behind unknown artists.
Yeah.
It costs so much to break an artist to get them. So it's like, if you have your following already, it's easier for us to come and put the money, and we know we're going to get a return because we know people like you already.
Yeah.
But you knew that. Why did you get depressed? But even though you were kicked off, people were calling. It wasn't the things you wanted, but it seemed like that should have been your time to strike while you were known, to come out with a song. Or did you? I don't know if you did or not, but what was your thinking at that point?
I didn't at the time, because at the time with my management, we were still trying to get funding for the singles or what have you. So the back part of I would say the backstory or whatnot, it wasn't totally together just yet. It was still a work in progress. Also energetically, I have to take responsibility. People are like, well, why haven't you made it yet? And I'm glad that I didn't, because when you are an artist like Justin Bieber, for example, you are forced to live out your public mistakes in public, and you are forced to fail in public. You succeed in public, but people watch you sometimes make a fool of yourself, but that's part of the human experience. I have been given what is not a curse, but I realize it's a blessing of being able to grow into my manhood behind closed doors to become a fully completed being. When I was on X Factor, I was not really comfortable in my skin. I had a lot going on. I was in the closet for a long time. I just came out of the closet 2 years ago as pansexual. Oh, wow. Yeah, people are like, oh, Saya, are you gay, straight? I'm like, I'm just interested who gets it right. At this
point. Who gets it right? That's big, yeah.
Who can love me in the capacity in which I can love them in return, So learning how to be comfortable with that, I can understand why the universe really didn't allow me to, because things that I would reach for, I would notice musically it would just fall apart. And I would be like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong? What is it that the universe wants me to learn? And it took me a while. Like right now I'm talking, the universe, but I was pissed at the time.
Right.
And I was entitled, and I had some like ego issues that I had to really check at the door. And it was a process. So when X Factor came, let me tell you a story. I had a girlfriend at the time. I was just the delivery boy. I had just got my cornrows freshly done. $65. I'm like, bet. Do it. Then my dad calls me. He's like, son, X Factor USA is in town. Do it. I was like, no, I don't want to. So I'm the one who's always kicking and screaming. Like, I don't want to. I don't know if I really want to. And he said, well, I just got my hair done. He's like, son, we can pay the $65. It's really that big of a deal. He's like, stop being so cheap. He said, my son that I know, he said, a winner makes a way. He said, so you take
a winner makes a way.
Yeah, take those freaking cornrows out of your hair, come to California. Let's zhuzh you up the way that we do. And let's go, I have set the table for you. Go out and serve the meal nice and hot. And let America love you. Don't force them to love you. Just be yourself and let's see what happens. So I went. It was about like 15, 20,000 people deep. And just, they were getting chopped. And I'll never forget, we were waiting in the rain. I do recommend, I know you said you were all for The Voice. I feel like every artist should go through that one time to have that experience, because the networking that you get while you're waiting in the cold with people and you're admiring their artistry. Like, you're like, oh, I love that jacket. And you're vibing, and people are playing acoustic guitar and just vibing. It was really, really nice to be around other artists. Right. I needed that.
It was home. It was being with like-minded people.
Yeah. It was.
They get it. Great. Everybody there gets it. Everybody's on one accord at that point.
Yeah, they're on one accord at that point. So it was nice. So I was like, okay, this feels good, because I was so estranged from it, because it has taken so long. Like, I've been in show business like 20, I'd say darn near 20 years deep. Okay, so I'm somewhat moderately preserved, but sometimes energetically, internally, I feel like a 60-year-old. I'm like, I'm like, that's gonna run on my lap, baby. I don't have the energy for none of this. Nope, and nope. I'm an introvert. I want to stay at home, and I want to, just kind of take the simple way out. So, yeah, X Factor happened. Round 1 got through. Round 2, and what they did is they had you sing in a tent first. So I did a Rick James version of Give It To Me Baby, my own rendition. Start with this a cappella thing that I do, and gospel, whatever. And the producer was like, okay, can you do that? Will you be able to do that in front of a live audience? I'm like, sure, why not? He said, okay. So then they got me to round 2, and then they taped it. And then whoever saw it, they're like, okay, you're through to round 3. Got my golden ticket. I was like, yay, I'm so excited. Bam. Got on X Factor. That was a learning process for me because during the process, they were interviewing people. And they said, okay, Saya. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, watch it, and then you'll see why I'm saying it the way that I'm about to say it. They can thread anything together. The way TV works is if they want someone to like you, they will thread things together so that you are endeared to that person. If they don't want them to like you, or you want to be deemed as a joke and they want to kind of portray you a certain way, the person who holds the power of the editing is the ruler of the world when it comes to show business and just TV in general. Mm-hmm. I didn't know any better because I was just so grateful to be on the show, right? What ended up happening, they were like, oh, well, Saya, can you say this statement alone? And I said, what? I said, well, girls are easy to get and blah, 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 blah. Because I said I wanted an energy drink called Sime Energy, right? Mm-hmm. So when I look at this footage, I always cringe because when they show my interview, I kind of look like a douche. I'm like, why did they edit it that way? But I now understand, like, Saya, can you say it this way? It wasn't to help me. It's because they were already painting a picture of the character that they wanted to paint me as. Mm-hmm. So when I went on the show, I performed for 8 minutes, the whole song of Give It To Me, Baby. When you watch the cut, it was whittled down to about, like, I don't know, maybe for 45 seconds, give or take. But it's like, I don't know what you're doing to me, baby. I don't know. And then all of a sudden I break out into dance and people think, okay, does he realize this is not so you think you can dance? Why is he dancing and hardly singing? But it's because how they cut everything up. It was fun, though, because I got really good critiques from Simon. It was Paula Abdul. What was it? L.A. Reid, Simon Cowell.
That's right. And
I forgot as an Australian superstar. Sorry if I forgot your name. Don't charge it to my heart. But I got great reviews and it was wonderful. But the show was not really geared to be supportive of me in that sense. It was more so just meant to, okay, this guy, he looks like Prince. He's a Prince impersonator. He's wearing the heels. So I already had a label on me that I didn't realize that was put upon me. And so after the 4th round and being cut, this is where Nicole Scherzinger comes in from the Pussycat Dolls. She was, excuse me, one of the VJs or one of the personalities behind the stage. So once you got off the stage, they could talk to you when you got off the stage, right? Mm-hmm. So when my first initial performance happened, she was there to greet me as soon as I walked off the stairs. She's like, oh my God. She's like, awesome talent, yada, yada, yada. But the cameras are on. So I tune people out when the cameras are on because I'm like, okay, you don't really mean that. When I got eliminated on round 4, I will never forget it because when you are eliminated in a show, in a contest like that, as soon as you are one of the have-nots versus the haves, mm-hmm. you are ushered off because they don't know your temperament. They don't know if you're going to flip out. So they want to separate you from the winners immediately. So they cut you off immediately so you can't even say goodbye or anything. They loaded us into this big giant cargo elevator. We had to go downstairs in the cold. Craft services, peep the narrative. You open the doors. The craft services table is outside. And it's kind of like nighttime. Nicole Scherzinger was standing right there when I walked out, and a crowd of fans like in a semicircle around her in this beautiful gown. And I was just walking my business, and I was just in my head, and I was like, oh man, this was my shot, and I felt like I didn't good. So I was knocking myself a lot internally. So I wasn't paying attention to anybody. I will never forget. She came out of her circle, and she said, hey, y'all, hold on a second. And she said, hey, push your chin up. She's like, you have nothing to be ashamed of. She's like, I think you are an awesome talent, and I'm going to remember you. It's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when I see you again. And she's like, I'm going to remember you. She's like, don't let this get you down. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. I believe in you. And she has no idea to this day how that affected me because you know how Hollywood is. People say things that they don't mean all the time. But the fact that the cameras were off and she felt, I don't know, me worthy enough to even come out to acknowledge my existence, considering she's a superstar. She doesn't have to do that. it just let me know what she was made of and the fortitude that she had. And she just doesn't understand the stand-up woman that I think that she is to this day. I have a lot of respect for her.
Yeah, and she could have just not said anything because she had all of those people around. So to put everybody on hold to point you out, that's just amazing and a blessing.
Yeah.
So what did you take from that moment on? Did you stop beating yourself up or?
It took me a minute. It took me a couple of weeks to kind of get out of it, because when you are in the scenes and you're with the contestants, it's addictive. So once you're cut off from it, it's just like, oh, I'm back to my normal boring life.
So when you say addictive, like what was it in there? I mean, everybody's happy, of course, and everybody's going to the next round, so it's partying. It's like we're like the winners and we're going, but what else? So how are the like, where are you staying? How are they treating you? What, all of these things.
Oh, well, when you do a singing competition show, sleep is not an option. So this is why you get singers, you'll realize, okay, like if The Voice or whatnot, you notice, oh, they sounded amazing in their first audition. And then as it starts to regress, you're like, they sound a little questionable. That's not the singer that I know. It's not their fault. It's just that they are, the way the producers do it, they want there to be chaos, because they know that if there's chaos, then it's going to be good content for whatever the person's watching on TV. So for the contestants, we are like the cattle, and we're being pushed over here. Okay, it's time to get up. You have hardly any time to do your hair. You have hardly any time to do anything. You got to pick songs that are approved, that are licensed. So
okay.
People think that, oh,
you should have did this song. That would have been perfect for you. It's not in that.
It wasn't in the roster. Yeah. And so you give them this small list. It's late. You're tired. Your voice isn't acting right. But what they're looking for is the winners to rise to the top. Through all of that obstacle, who still rises to the top, whose voice still shows up for them. And for those who are blessed and highly flavored, you know, some have these octaves where you couldn't kill their voice if you tried. Even if they're sick, they're able to do it. I was not really one of those people. I mean, I got an average voice. I had to earn it. So it wasn't really that kind to me as far as my vocals feeling there until like the very, very end. But people ask me, now you know what you've done as far as everything that you've done on the show, and although it really wasn't the best experience for you, totally. Not a total crap show. Mm-hmm. But I'm just highlighting the parts that were challenging. They asked me would I do it again. And the truth is I would. Because it was a learning process for me. It was a learning process that when you get your 15 minutes of fame, even if it's for something that makes no sense to you, oh, it's the Prince impersonator. Do what you can to spin whatever you can off of it. While you have people's attention, you can feed them your intentions of whatever you want. But I just didn't have the right connections at the time to make it happen. Right.
Or the right team to say, this is what we need. You should do this.
Yeah, the right
that
team.
Direction.
Yeah, and my manager, who's also my father, God bless his heart, his name is Eric Floyd. He was doing the best that he could, but, you know, he had a lot of plates that he was spinning and a lot of things going on. So it just, timing-wise, it just wasn't the best timing. Because as soon as I got sent home, I was still working a regular gig, and I was like, okay. And then the other thing that happened that nobody tells you about, I started getting like death threats. I had somebody go online immediately and make a social media fan page of me and thanking all of my fans, because X Factor USA in particular was aired in 50 different continents or states or countries, what have you. And I was dragged into social media. So I had to go on because Wendy Williams at the time, she would always come on Hot Topics. She talked about X Factor and she didn't really talk about me. What ended up trumping me is some guy pulled his pants down and started just doing ridiculous stuff during his audition. So that's what made it on the Hot Topics. But what caused it to happen is everybody started watching X Factor because it was the first time it was in the States. Because of that, whoever this person was, they went on Facebook, impersonated me, so it forced me to have to create my own fan page, and that's how I've been in social media since to this day.
But you said somebody gave you death threats?
I had death threats. So for the longest time, I would start to go by my middle name because I'd be in the gym or I'd be just wherever. Be like, yo, you're that, dude from whatever. But it's hard to know who's a friend and who's a foe. Mm-hmm. And who has your best interest at heart. And I started to get paranoid because I kept seeing the things that were said online. Some were kind, but the fact that I just went on television just to pursue my dream, the amount of vitriol that I got from certain people because I existed, it was kind of weird.
Now, what was their issue with you?
Well, I just got so many things, just homophobia. I wasn't even out of the closet then, but because of how I looked, like, you long-haired fag, and a lot of horrible. Yeah, and then racist. N-word was like thrown around a lot just because I existed. So you've got people that are used to being online bullies. So because I was the focal point at that time, and I was one of the main attractions of the show for that time, because I was in the advertisement press junkets where they would do the commercials, and I was in the highlights a lot. So once they found out who I was, it was just like people started going in, and I really wasn't ready for all that because I was still just trying to lick my wounds and trying to figure out, okay, do I even want to do music anymore? Because I was already kind of worn out. I was told that music was what I was supposed to go to. It's not something that was my original dream. I was just content being a background dancer behind my mom and, keeping it moving. So...
but it was your mother who got you into it.
It was my mom.
That she believed in you.
It was my mom, Wanda D of the KLF, lead singer of the British pop techno dance group. Please don't, I hope I don't mess up her intro. Because my dad, he's like, she could spin on a dime and give you 9-cent change. Oh, did I do it? I think I did.
Okay, yeah.
Wanda D of the KLF, yeah. Beautiful, awesome talent. And I was just dancing behind her. Long story short, I was singing Sylvester, you make me feel in the freaking kitchen, and I was scrambling some eggs, and I was doing the harmonies, but I was just singing. And she's like, son, you can sing. You should capitalize on that. I'm like, yeah. But what is so funny is the universe forced me to do it because a couple of weeks down the pipeline, I didn't realize it was the universe talking to me through her. So what ended up happening is this boy group called Primary Colors.
Okay.
They were holding an audition. They flew me to New York, and they were...
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and choreography, and I got the choreography down wonderful. The singing, got the singing down wonderful. Didn't get the part because they said I wasn't black enough. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't look the part. Yeah, that's a whole other story. Because people always assume, what do you mix with? I'm like, black and black. If you don't leave me alone. Yeah.
But it was all like a boy band, all black group?
Oh, no. It was like, okay, white, Asian. So,
okay.
They wanted the token black that looked traditional black,
all
whatever
for
that
one
meant.
Or something?
No, it's called Primary Colors.
Primary Colors, okay.
Yeah. I'll never forget it because it was great because although I didn't get the part, the reason why I bring that up is because it pushed me out there to show me that, you could do this. You can dance, but you can also sing. These people have been in the game for a minute and they were impressed by you, so don't underestimate yourself. So that is what gave me the courage to start writing music, to start just kind of experimenting. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe I do have something to contribute, to bring to the table musically. And I just started going from there. So I have like a bunch of songs that I've written, I produced.
It's over 100, right?
Over 120.
120, wow.
Yeah.
How many did you actually record and get down?
I have about, I feel like a full album's worth. Mm-hmm. And a couple of bonus tracks if I had to kind of put it into perspective. But yeah.
What are you doing with the remaining 100 or 102 songs? You ever think about writing for artists or anything like that? Or
it's funny you mentioned that. Sometimes and you write as well, and you're very creative, so I think you'll be able to relate to what I'm about to say. Is sometimes things come through you that are not necessarily for you.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
So sometimes I write songs, and I'm like, this is cool style. I don't know if it's for me, but I'm gonna put it on the back burner for such and such. I have a song for Rihanna that I wrote. I have certain songs. Or what'll happen is I will write a song for a certain artist, but then I would be like, I'm never going to be able to get it to them, so I'm going to make it my style. And then I end up liking it even better.
Right, yeah. Actually, I did one for my last album.
Yeah.
And it was a really great song. I had Tank in mind for it. I'm like,
Ooh.
Tank would be perfect for
Yeah.
it. Because I love Tank. I love the song.
Yeah.
But my voice on it it was like, dang, I wish I do my thing, but I can't do that.
The Tank thing.
Yeah. Tank is a beast. So I was
Yeah.
like, yo, that would be a good song for him.
He's on the playlist.
But all right, so
you got that. Like, he's on the playlist. Yeah.
well, who else is on the playlist talking about it?
Ooh.
I know you gotta have Prince on the playlist.
I do not, actually.
You don't have Prince
It's
on the
been the crux
playlist.
of I respect Prince as an artist, but because I've been compared to him so much, I've had music labels deny me, like, oh, he's a Prince impersonator. I'm like, no, I bring so much more. I bring different stuff to the table. So people, they're like, oh, you must love Prince. I'm like, honestly, one of the artists that I idolize the most is Tom Jones.
Oh, okay.
I
It's
sing-
not unusual.
Yeah, but he's a belter. And so, okay, music theory, okay, I would be considered a baritone with tenor tendencies. Excuse me. So I would identify with that, or Betty LaVette, and like different artists like that. So when it came to Prince, as much as I loved his music, I almost felt ashamed to be listening to it because I had so many people saying you're trying to be this,
Right.
that I felt like I probably shouldn't listen to it because it's going to make me emulate something, or
Right.
You know what I mean?
Especially if you love it, that little thing, the little ad lib or will mimic or sound similar.
Yeah, and even if I do any move or whatnot, they're like, "Oh, that's Prince." I'm like, "No, he's never even done." So
They say that, but it could be James Brown. It
James
could be Jackie Wilson.
yep. And before that, the Barcase.
I don't know Barcase.
So they were like a all black band back in the day, and they were doing the splits, and they were dressed like James Brown and everything.
Really?
Yeah, the Barcase. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Was that who were they with? Was it still like that Motown era or before in the 60s with James? What part of James' career were they in?
It was like the 70s.
The 70s.
Yeah, froze were big at the time. You know, the jumpsuits.
Right. With so many amazing artists at
Yeah.
that time, so you can't know everybody, and everybody was putting out fire. From the disco. It was funny. My former, father-in-law is Doc Wade from the Tramps. Burn, baby, burn. Yeah, disco inferno.
Nice.
That's my ex-father-in-law. It's crazy to say this, but
Yeah.
I used to see the Gold album all the time. I was like, I want to get one. But yeah, so it was a lot of things going on. So what was the name of that group again?
The Barcase.
The Barcades. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to Google it. Okay, so you said something earlier. You said you learned about gratitude and from being entitled to from being entitled to, I guess, maturing and spiritually growing.
Yeah.
First, I would love to know how did you get there? What was that process, and then where are you now? Because I understand that a little bit, and what was that transition? How'd you?
So, I'm a weird individual in the sense of I've always been an old soul. I never really like going to therapy because I'm like, bro, I've already dug 6 feet deep. You're giving me a little mini shovel on what to do at the topsoil. I've already gotten down here. I already know the answers. Kanye, you don't know the answers. No. I know. I would know the answers internally as to what I was supposed to do. Maya Angelou said it best: when you know better, you do better. But I was one of those people sometimes.
At least most people.
Most people. Touche. Yeah. But I was probably most people in the sense of I knew universal law, law of attraction and everything. But I also got a little disenchanted in the sense of, okay, yes, I'm supposed to do this, but do I feel like it? Not really. So, like what I said as far as the gratitude and stuff, it's easy to talk about being grateful or, okay, I am so grateful for this. So we must be mindful and we must be present and don't do this and don't do that. It's one thing to put it on like a jacket versus to actually be it. When you put it on like a jacket, this is why people listen. Are you familiar with Abraham Hicks?
No, not the name.
Motivational speaker.
Okay.
Really, really good. But some people need to listen to things that hype them up and like, yeah, I'm amped or whatever. But then some people, it comes internally. It is self-perpetuating. And so often I read a lot of books on self-help and self-improvement, and I got so oversaturated. I just became a little jaded and disenchanted because it was just like, okay, I've applied these principles, laws of attraction, The Secret, I've done it all. And what do I have to show for it? But not the circumstances changing, but how I'm receiving the circumstances that are existing. So I'm positive about it, but it has not really changed the reality of what I'm going through. Mm-hmm. But it just got to a point where it's manifesting on my body. You know, I'm a leukemia survivor, as you know. Mm-hmm. That was another humbling part of the journey that brought me to a more minimalist approach of stop concentrating on, well, I'm not the gloved one. You're right where you need to be. I'm here with you at this point in time for a reason. This is the first podcast I've done. I've had people talk to me before. You've got a great voice. You should think about doing podcast. So podcasts and certain things for the last 2 years have been thrown in my ears, and how I have always been is, okay, I want to see what the universe has to offer me. I'm that way now. Mm-hmm. But at the time, because I thought that things needed to be planned. To be a successful artist, okay, you must got to have a game plan. We must go to A to Z. Okay, we got to get me on Ellen. Like when I finished X Factor, that's what I wanted. I was like, Dad, let's get me on Ellen. Let's get me on Jimmy Kimmel. Do that where I'm unedited. It's a no-brainer. I had an 11-piece band. And I thought it was going to be just easy. But it wasn't the case. So when I'm talking about gratitude, it's just simply understanding the value that just life and basic things hold. I have clean drinking water. I have a roof over my head. I have somebody that loves me. I have somebody to go home to. I have a body that works. Just that alone, even though it seems trivial or small, we have more than most the fact that we have clean drinking water. I don't have to worry about when I go outside that I'm going to get shot, unless I go to the wrong part of town. Unless I go to D Street. So, but do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%. I'm there.
Yeah. So it's just like this is why I can be.
But do you think it was I don't want to say it was all of those factors that happened that brought you to that point to get you there? Because mine, I had a fall from the Empire State Building and scraped all the way down and hit all the way bottom to where I was like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm grateful for what I had after I lost everything and building again. But I guess my question is, do you think that was what brought you to that area of I'm grateful now and not the entitlement?
I would say part of that journey, but honestly, where it is stemmed from is one, the leukemia. When you're challenged with your own mortality, that can snap you out of things real fast. So it was that in particular, but it was also just I was mentally worn out. So I hate to sound cliche or like a cornball, but like Man in the Mirror with the Michael Jackson song, I really just started to do like the shadow work, and I had to self-audit myself. I said, okay, the hardest thing for somebody to do is really look at themselves in the mirror and be like, okay, wait, I don't want to keep... I curse like a sailor, so I'm
No, go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm like, motherfucker, like, you got some shit that's wrong with you. What is up? And I had to check myself. I said, okay, I probably have some entitlement issues that I got to get out of the way that are tainting my point of view, that are clouding my better judgment. So I got tired of suffering. That's where it all stemmed from. I was just suffering so bad, and I was so much in my depression. And my dad's like, well, you know, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result. So if you keep doing what you've always done, then you're going to get what you always have. So I just eventually snapped out of it. And for me, it was just 1 minute for like a couple of years, the sky was dark. And then I just decided to be like, you know what, the sky's blue. And to preserve my own peace of mind, I actually divorced myself from music, and I divorced myself from those things because it was not feeding my spirit. More so it was reminding me of what I don't have. And I'm like, okay, I need to press the reset button and really try to get myself focused as to what really matters.
And so what is that for you? What really matters?
What matters is love. And I say that in all capacities. Number one, self-love. Because if you don't have that, that's really going to mess you up.
Now, everybody talks about that, and I believe in that too.
Yeah.
But how do you provide self-love for yourself?
The first thing I do is I have to examine the situations around me as to, okay, am I doing this out of love or am I doing this out of fear? Because no decision based off of fear is ever a good one, right? Am I in this relationship with this person because I'm in love with them, or am I in this relationship because I'm in habit with them? Most people do that a lot. They don't know how to walk away from relationships. So the little things that I know that I have control over, what lets me get the barometer of like, okay, am I doing this from a foundation of self-love, is simply just asking, what is the source behind why I decided to come here? I decided to come here not out of entitlement. It was just I was humbled that you asked me to come to be on the show with you.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
so
I appreciate that. It was just great vibe and great conversation. And then I knew that you told me that you were an artist. I was just man, you know, this person is deeper, and I feel the vibe. I'm there. So I was like, I wanted to bring you on. You know, this is a new set, it's new show, and cool. So thank you. So I just want to do things that matter, like words matter. I learned that the hard way. I used to be cocky, and it's my way, the highway, and you know, entitled. Yeah. And then when you lose everything, and you have to start over, you be like, damn, that was me. And then you have to do the work on trying to process and build a new life. Yeah. And with doing that, you just, man, okay, I don't want this anymore. I just want love. I just give light, peace, and because you don't want that pain, you don't want that hurt. That was for me, and that's kind of how I changed. You know, I'm still working on other things with the self-love and or self-belief. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And a lot of times I'm like, it's the weirdest thing. You ever hear when it's quiet, I need noise or something, or talk or TV, because when I turn off the TV, that's when it's the loudest. And I'm hearing so much, you know, and sometimes you're trying to do something, and that fear thing, it's like, I don't know how to do it and how you approach it. Yeah. One piece at a time. Yeah. But I'm constantly hearing a screaming voice saying, wake up. Like, wake up. It's really screaming. It's like, what are you doing? You can't waste your life. No more wasted seasons. You talking this game. You doing this. You have all of these tools and these things to actually make it, or make your dream or the vision of your dreams come to pass. For talking in the financial and the fame status, not internal. So we're still working on that, but we're doing a podcast. Why? Because you want some type of a fame, or to be able to do this instead of working your 9 to 5 and to provide. But there's other parts of me. This comes easy. There's another part of me, the business part, and having a television network and running that. Yeah. That's where it becomes a little bit more difficult, and you have to put on the business hat and not the artist hat. And you have a lot of decisions you have to try to figure out. And that part, if you don't have a team and you're doing it all on your own, that's where you want to pull out your hair, and that's when it's not fun. And you're saying, why are you doing this? So, and when you know you have deadlines and you just want to rather chill, like you said earlier, and you just don't want to do it, I hear the screams of, get up, you got it. What are you doing? You're going to blow this kid. Yeah. So I get it. I'm off track. I forgot what I said. But
No, I'm listening with everything that you're saying, though. No, you get exactly where I'm coming from.
But the gratitude, I definitely get. Again, that's what I'm saying. That's why I came up with Words Matter after losing everything. So once you got the gratitude and you start doing the work with the self-love and the self-belief again, because that belief, you can tell if somebody believes in the self, even in the way they walk.
Yeah.
How did you get the belief again?
Well, because it became more than just music. I got into music initially because I wanted to enlighten the masses. It was for the right reasons. And then as I got into it further, it started being for the wrong reasons. And it just kind of snuck up on me. Like, you do it for the fame. You do it for the money. I'm like, no, that's supposed to be the byproduct. Right. If you're doing music for the money, get a new job.
Yeah, because only a few make the real money, and then to make the money, you're not making it from your album sales. You're making it from performing.
Exactly, your performance and your publishing. Mariah Carey is paid. People want to say, well, her voice, whether it's there or not, it doesn't even matter. She is getting paid because she writes her own music. And this is before a record label started taking a piece of your publishing. Now they take a piece of your publishing as an artist because they know there's no money in the actual music. Before Prince died, and this is what I take from him, he was a great artist on stage, but he was a genius off stage as far as his business was concerned. He said, own your masters. He said, when it comes to publishing, you write your own stuff because that's where the money is at. He did this amazing thing, SoundScan, which because nobody was buying albums anymore. So for every ticket that you brought, his album was already included in the price. So it made it seem like his album sales shot up. It was genius.
Wow,
it was genius.
I didn't know that.
Oh, he changed the game. Like
SoundScan. So when you buy a ticket to the show, you get the album.
The album is already inserted, so it makes it look like there's more sales than it is, and it reads well on SoundScan, and that's all that matters. So he knew how to manipulate the system.
Yeah, because then they'd be like, oh, he fell off. He only sold,
Yeah.
But people are coming to see him.
Yeah. So ironically, people think I love Prince because of his onstage stuff. I'm like, he's very, very talented on stage, but I love the way he thought. I love to watch like his interviews.
Oh yeah,
because I loved how he thought as an individual.
Even how he talked about contract. The key word in con is con. Yeah. You're going to con, So it's like, and that's one of the main things I dislike about just business, just the morals. A lot of people don't have morals and or standards. Everybody is doing it to get what they need to get. Yeah, there's enough on the table for everybody. What's for you is for you. Yeah. So don't block somebody else from doing what they're supposed to do or hate on somebody else. Yeah. As long as you're putting in the work and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to get what you're supposed to get. Most of the time. But
most of the time.
It's nothing that's perfect. But so tell me about the medicine. You had leukemia.
Yes.
And I know you went down to like 100 pounds. Yeah. I know you talked about the Western medicine not working for you, and it doesn't work for me. Yeah. You had just a gift. And I need to make sure that your video, can you provide the video?
Oh, sure.
About where did you go, and you talk with someone to help heal your body, and the things you said in there was amazing. Did you speak on that?
Yeah, sure thing. So I am a leukemia survivor. I was officially in the clear November 11th, 2017.
Okay.
Lucky numbers, right?
Now also, just to stop you real quick, I know most people know about leukemia, but what does leukemia do to your body? Because I know about it, but I don't know about it.
Yeah. It's degenerative. So it was right off of the heels of me going off of X Factor. That was the other thing. I had no drive. I thought I was just lazy. It was like, no, my body was breaking down because of what was going on. So I started wasting away because I didn't know. I don't have a doctor. I don't believe in that. Like, I know you should have a doctor at a certain age, but I feel like doctors are, I feel like they're the car mechanics of the body, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, there's nothing wrong here, but look what's going on here. Like, you're creating problems that aren't there. So doctors kind of scare me. So I didn't know what was going on until it was almost too late. And when I found out the clinic, they were so casual about it. Okay, so it looks like you have acute myeloid. We want to get you into, what is it called? Where you lose your hair. I forgot.
Chemotherapy?
Thank you. The chemotherapy. And I was like, what? I'm known for my hair. And I was like, wait a minute. And I just left.
And went where? Oh, left that office.
I just left, and I didn't answer any phone calls. I was like, okay, if I don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist. I've always been one of those people of, please don't tell me if I have something, because the moment you tell me, you put the stamp on me, it's going to accelerate. Mm-hmm. And as soon as they put that stamp on me, because I was so paranoid and I felt like I was a prisoner in my own body, I really went downhill fast. So I was already prepared to die. So I had no fight in me. After X Factor and everything, and then now I got this, I was like, okay, Jesus, take the wheel, or whoever. Let me just go home. I'm over it. Let me be reborn as somebody else. Because I don't view death very, very, with such a heavy. So it was like, okay, please let me die so I can be born as something else and have a better experience. Please and thank you. And make me at least 6 foot.
Yeah, right.
Don't make me short again. Thank you.
End up as an ant.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. So, kind of getting back to it. My parents, mm-hmm. What I always harken back to is, it's no man is an island. When you see people giving speeches on the Grammys or what have you, oh, I did this. It's like, damn well you didn't do this on your own. It takes a village to raise a child. So when you don't believe in yourself, and it's not perfect, there are times where you're going to doubt yourself. Excuse me. You want to surround yourself with the people that do. That can be the wind beneath your wings until you can be self-sustaining again. Mm-hmm. And because I did not want to live, and I was just kind of over it, and I wouldn't look in the mirror, my dad and my mom really just became very proactive, and they found a very, very famous healer by the name of Dr. Sebi.
Okay. Holistic healer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He treated Michael Jackson. He treated Left Eye Lopez from TLC. Remember, she died in the plane crash. She was flying over to Honduras. She was doing that a lot. Mm-hmm. And he would treat everybody for everything. Oh,
she was going there when she
died. Yeah. Oh, wow. Because she was a big advocate. There are actually YouTube videos where she's in Honduras, in Usha village, showing everybody around. I was actually proud. I got to stay in the hut that she stayed in because they put like a little lotus on the tile mm-hmm. on the ceiling. And his biggest belief was Dr. Sebi, the holistic healer, was that there is only one disease. They have a bunch of clever arrangements. Oh, this is leukemia. This is, ovarian cancer, and it's whatever it is. It's like there's only one disease, and that's mucus. And where the mucus is located in your body in abundance, that is where it's going to cause the most problems. So he's like, if you get rid of the mucus, you won't have half the diseases that people consider incurable. The reason why he ran to Honduras was because he was over here in the States curing people of HIV. And you don't say that in public. The biggest mafia is the pharmaceutical industry. You say that you're curing people of HIV, they will damn near hang you and decapitate you. So it's a blessing that he was able to be alive for as long as he was, considering what he was healing people of. They took him to court and all this stuff, so he retreated to Honduras because he had immunity over there.
Right.
Protection.
But why did they, I don't know the story, but why would they, because they want the money, of course.
There's no...
Why would you, if he's actually healing people...
Yeah.
Why are they hating on him?
Well, because there's no money in the cure.
Right.
Yeah, that you're taking money out of people's pockets. So when you say you're curing people of stuff and you're not a part of the FDA or whatnot, and it's not okay. Do you breathe too much? You might want to take. You know those commercials? That's where money's at. Restless leg syndrome. Like, do you realize they have so many new diseases out that didn't exist back in, I don't know, 80s and 70s and stuff? But like RLS and it's just been an evolution of all these different things that they're developing, and as I said, the car mechanics of the body of creating problems that aren't there.
So how did he fix it?
So his biggest thing was stop eating meat. So when I went over there, the first thing that they had me do was fast for 7 days. There was no meat on the thing, and I have some pictures I'll even show you later on that I can share with you. And when you go there, you have your own private hut that you stay in. There's one big communal hut where everybody goes to eat. Everybody has their own table. It's actually half the size of this, so it's right here. Mm-hmm. And you have a big giant bottle of sea moss. He's a big fan of sea moss.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Irish sea moss. So it's like really like sea moss that's from the sea.
Like seaweed?
Yeah. No, not necessarily.
But seaweed, but it's like that. It's a sea moss.
Yeah. It's highly rich in like 92 different minerals. Like if people don't like to take a bunch of different vitamins or whatnot, if you had to take one good thing, sea moss is where it's at. So he was an avid believer in taking sea moss. He had 5 different glasses on the table that were just a bunch of sour herbs and stuff like that, right? Then he had one big giant kettle of hot spring water because they had a hot spring on the actual village that they had. So you had to drink an entire kettle of hot spring water per day, drink your whole sea moss per day, and you'd have to take a bath in a hot spring per day. And you do these things while also being devoid of any meat, any candy, any sugar, no garlic, no bananas, because even bananas, he said, unless they're the burros, which are the small ones, he said those are already been genetically modified. So no bananas, no garlic.
No garlic? Why not garlic?
Same thing. He said it's just not good for the system. So
even the doctors always say garlic is helping the blood and all that stuff. No.
Yeah, and theoretically it does, but based off of like his approach, he had a whole list of certain foods that you were supposed to stay away from while you were on his detox.
Okay.
So I did it, and I started glowing. I was breaking out like crazy. But I was there for maybe only got like 22 days. And I lost a ton of weight, but I felt just invigorated because you don't have cell phone service. So you're forced to read a book. You're forced to be in your own thoughts. You're forced to be in the silence. Like you said, the screams and, and everything that you're hearing. That is a place where you go to be almost like in your own fortress of solitude. Because his biggest thing was, eat good food, think good thoughts, speak good things. So it goes in line with what your words matter. I love that because it's echoing the sentiments of what I've heard from various different people in my life that have been influential of the body listens to what we say. Like, so when people say things in jest, I'm no big deal or whatnot, like, don't say that, even if it's a joke, because the body doesn't know that.
Right.
People that are like self-deprecating humor, that is the worst, because although it's funny and it's been normalized, your cells are still listening to your body when you say things like that.
Yeah. You say what you say you will have.
Yes.
You speak those things into existence.
Oh, for sure.
It's not you work those things into,
Yeah.
That comes, working on it comes after first thinking, then speaking.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I am. I mean, the simple word of that. So when you think in terms of that, it was very scary for me because, I'm a Capricorn. I don't know if you know anything about them, but it's said that at times we can be a little bit pessimistic. I don't know. Asking for a friend, somebody said that. I think we're perfect in every way. but I've had a pessimistic route where sometimes I can get caught in my own head, or because of what I've been through, like in my own childhood, whatnot, my self-esteem has not always been there. So when it was pointed out to me, how belittling of myself that I can be at times, I was like, wow. And I had challenged myself. I said, I'm going to have a day where I only say something positive. And I only focus on what I do want. I don't say, well, I don't want this. It is my belief system that the universe is a dominatrix. Hear me out. No stop and don't. Do not compute.
No stop and don't.
No stop and don't. Do not compute with the universe. I don't want this, like a negative. Like, I don't want this to happen. So basically, you're telling the universe, oh, well, I do want this to happen. So you're pulling it towards you. The more you talk about, oh my God, I don't want this to happen, you are attracting the very thing that you don't want. So you would think it would be the easiest thing. I dare you to try it. Have a whole day where you just focus on the things that you do want. You never say a negative charged word of, well, I don't want this. No, I do want this. It's complete overhaul in your reprogramming. And I still don't even get it perfect to this day. I'm still a work in progress, but I am cognizant of the fact that my cells are listening. Even with the whole music thing, this is why I understand why it didn't happen, because I felt that there was a part of me that really wasn't ready for it. But I wasn't able to acknowledge that. I am now. And do I want it? Yes, I do. If the opportunity came for whatever, to do a backflip, yes, I would take it. Say no to nothing, embrace everything, desire everything, don't need it.
Right.
It's a difference. It's, desiring everything is from a positive standpoint. It's not out of desperation. I need this. I need to win the money for the lotto. I need to do this. You're just going to chase it away like smoke. So I really had to dissect my own algorithms, in a sense. And this is what I'm talking about with self-love. Self-love is, are you familiar with the term shadow work?
A little bit. Go into it for me.
Shadow work is very, very brutal. It's just people that karmatically understand that there are things that they have to acknowledge in themselves karmatically from the present, what they're living, what they may have done to others. Whatever we've done to others, it always ends up coming back to us. It's like a boomerang effect. Nobody escapes it. Your karma, your dharma, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes you have generational curses. I don't want to get too deep. I could just go.
We go. How much time? We good at time at?
I was going to say.
You're at 60.
Okay.
Oh, well.
They go. Let's go.
Generational curses. Sometimes people like, why is it that I'm a good person, but all this bad stuff keeps happening in me? And my dad told me, and I had an aha moment when he said this. He said, son, he said, you're getting mad at the universe because things keep happening bad to you. But did it ever occur to you that, think of it like a cereal dispenser. So you've got all the old stale cereal that has to come out first. They put all the new cereal at the top. The new cereal at the top is the good things that you've done and all the good karma that's coming down your way. But the bad stuff still has to come out first. It has to run its course. And then you get to the good cereal. He said where everybody fucks up is because the bad cereal keeps coming out, they end up pouring the bad cereal back on top by doing more bad shit and doing things out of desperation. And then they never stop the cycle. They never stop the cycle, and then someone end up dying, letting their dreams die and taking it to their grave because they were stubborn and they didn't know how to stop pouring the cereal at the top. They didn't know how to be patient with the universe and to understand, like, okay, either I earned this suffering either in a prior life or I earned it in this life. I'm going to take it on the chin. I'm going to remain positive. I'm going to stay grateful. I'm going to concentrate on what I do have, and I'm just going to be like Secretariat, and I'm just going to keep looking forward.
Yeah, with blinders on.
With blinders on. It is the hardest thing to do. That's what I'm talking about with shadow work. It's really getting into the nooks and crannies of yourself and understanding that horrible crap is still going to happen. And your only job is to still internally feel that smile. Don't put on a smile. Not like smile though your heart is breaking. It's like, no, be genuinely grateful for, okay, this happened to me, and although I may be living this out and I deserve this because I know where this is coming from. Things have happened to me before, like in relationships. I've had girlfriends or whatnot that would cheat or whatnot. But I understand as to why, because I needed them. The relationship was already doomed because I needed them. Not because I desire them. If you desire someone, then things can breathe. You two can be in a partnership. It's not a dictatorship. With these girls, I was attracting the wrong people because I didn't love myself enough. So this is why, like, people are always talking about, oh, well, this person, I broke up with this person, they were this and they were that and the other. I'm like, no, the more mature thing to do is, what did I do to attract this person into my life? What did I do to contribute to this? Because it takes two to tango. So, you know, I don't villainize any of my exes. You know, I take responsibility for where I went wrong. But I had to take a step back because I realized I would yo-yo from relationship to relationship. And my biggest fear, and I can say it, is because I was afraid to be alone. I love being in love. I love it. But in loving being in love, it caused me to make poor decisions and to settle for anybody. Horrible decision. I wasted a lot of time. I won't say waste. It was just...
You learned a lot of hard lessons.
I learned a lot of hard lessons that I could have curtailed if I listened to my parents at times, if I knew when to leave the party, to know when the difference between and this is my own little proverb, you gotta know the difference between yogurt people and petroleum jelly people.
Okay. Explain that one.
So, yogurt people have an expiration date.
Yogurt, okay.
Yeah, yogurt has an expiration date. Petroleum jelly people, if you know anything about petroleum jelly, it is forever. It is forever preserving. And where people go wrong is they don't understand that some of the relationships that they are in, whether it's a friendship, a fuckship, a relationship, a love ship, whatever else in between ships, it's a sinking ship where you think that this person is my ride or die. This is my petroleum jelly person, and they're not. They are bringing your karma down. Their failure is contagious, and they are causing you to block your own blessings because you don't know how to let go of something that the universe desperately wants you to let go of. So because you won't let go of it, you don't get anything new, and you're literally like, kind of like a rocket where you're never going to take off. The exhaust is going to eat you because you don't know how to let go. The power of letting go. The power of learning when to leave the party. Those are things that I've had to learn. So when I talk about gratitude, there's so much in that phrasing that I have really learned to swallow my jagged pills and my harsh truths, and wondering, to the universe, I said, okay, I have learned this lesson. One of my favorite songs is Rolling River God. Are you familiar with that song?
No. Oh. Rolling River God. I might know. How does it go?
My voice is still...
You can
Rolling River God, little stones are smooth. Oh, Bridget Bardot, she sang it. It's like kind of like a gospel cover, but it's talking about how I was a rough rock, but now I'm smoother. And I just wish that you would pick me up and notice that I'm just a little smoother. Talking about, God or whatever you call it. So that has always been like the crux of my existence, where I just wanted the universe to recognize that I'm trying and that I'm not delusional. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm a work in progress. And to reveal to me what my purpose is here. So this is why it's so easy for me to not really dwell on music. I still have music in my arsenal. I've recorded some good songs and stuff that's supposed to be great singles and everything.
But there's a season for that.
There's a season for that. And what I realized is I'm grateful because I have various different talents. I like to talk. I like to share my stories. I'm able to articulate myself in a way where people sometimes can connect to what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That is a gift. So if I never did music again in my life, I'm grateful for the fact that even now I have a platform. I'm talking to you. You know, what I do for work or whatnot, I'm doing that. I'm getting it out of me as best as I can in the avenues that I can control.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
Great stuff. I'm still unpacking. There's so many more questions. I'm like, this can't be a 2-hour podcast, can it? You know, it was like the power of letting go. That's deep.
Yeah.
And you can't get something new until you let go. And it's, yeah.
It's a lot. It's It's a lot, but it's not really a lot. It's not really that. This is why I say I'm a minimalist. They always say it's hard to fill a cup that's already half full, right? So, you know, I have ideas. I have hunches, but I don't know. I don't claim to know much of anything. I just know the experience and the reality that I'm in right now.
Have you ever been to the point to where you feel, I don't know if it's the right word, stuck, or it's a part of fear where you have decisions to make, but you've the burns and the cuts and the scrapes from the lessons you've learned before. Now you like you're playing double dutch with it. When should you go? Have you had that yet? And trying to figure out when to make the right move, because everything is about timing.
Yes.
And if you get something too soon, what could be a blessing will be a curse. And if you do something too late, you know, so it's all about timing, just like making a cake. Too soon, it's going to be mushy and muddy. Too soon, too late, it's going to be burnt and dry.
Yeah.
So it's the timing. And I'm looking at things in my life and trying to figure out the right time. I have a lot of arsenals that come in, but when is the right time to do this, and when is the right time to lay down, like the singing, you know?
Yeah.
And new opportunities are coming. But there's been a season where I'm like, I don't know if I should do that, or paying more people for more marketing and social media. And when I just got burned for $2,000, I'm like, you know, how do you trust? Have you dealt with any of that?
To a degree, you know, I am grateful though the management that I've had has shielded me from a lot of those things. Because as you said, you get a lot of people selling wooden nickels, and it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Sammy Davis Jr. said it best. Said the moment you learn to fake sincerity, that's when you can rule the world. If you can act like you give a fuck, meanwhile someone's talking to you and you're thinking about what you're about to eat, and you know, if you can fake sincerity, you got it made. So you get a lot of people that know how to. They learn how to be so clever because their main motive is how to part you from your money. They will how to part a man from his money, and so when it comes to show business, it's glitz and glamour and it's smoke screens and my people call your people. So when girls like Nicole Scherzinger really show you that they're still real individuals like that, it isn't, you know, it's inspiring. So when it comes to like what you're asking about, unfortunately, the only thing that I can offer that is when I have been faced with the few things that I've had to go through, it's just discernment of how does this person feel to me. Your first instinct is usually your right one. And what happens is we gloss over it because we think every smile is a smile, not realizing sometimes it's a gnashing of teeth. Not every smile is a smile. So because this person's nice or whatever, you start to
cloud your better judgment.
It's like, what was my first instinct about this person? And then when they default and they do something that pisses you off, and then that's something that is dishonorable, and you're like, I always had a feeling about that person.
You should have just went with it. Okay. Now, we're wrapping up.
Okay.
I know you got dinner plans too, so I'm going to keep you too late.
Oh, that's all good. I'm enjoying this.
Where are you with the peace and love in your life?
Oh.
If you feel like sharing.
Sure. The peace and love in my life where I am at, so like right now I'm like currently with the guy, is like I'm too old for certain shit. Right? I don't have time for pit stop relationships. I want a final destination. I'm like, boo. I said it's been 6 years. In gay time, if you've been together 1 year, is my ideal that you've been together 2, because we are an intense people and it's a high turnover rate. So if you can hold someone's attention for a year in a gay relationship, you're pretty solid. We've been together 6 years. So I was like, babe, we're technically married. It says, so we need to find a way.
One more is common. Common law.
Oh, common law. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, we need to find a way to make this work. So it's a work in progress. Relationships are a work in progress. It has required a lot of patience from me, but it is paying off.
what's your key for keeping the fire going and not letting it die? Because sometimes you get into your routine and that's your boo, and next thing you know, these little sly remarks start coming. You're like, wait a minute, what is that?
Yeah.
And then, you know, when things start to change, how do you keep that from happening?
God, this should be another episode. You know, okay, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I have always been a believer of ritual and predictability is the assassin of spontaneity, of keeping things fresh in a relationship. I always tell my guy, I'm like, look, your mantra is how I got my man is how I keep my man. Period. Or how I got my woman. You know, people can apply this, not just in this type of relationship, but any. It's like how you got that person's attention is how you keep them.
Right. Because that's what made them, if you did certain things, keep doing it because that's what they like.
Yes.
If you stop doing it, it doesn't mean that they don't still want it.
Yeah.
So when you stop doing it, the desire is still there. Then somebody else, I think they may do that thing I like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I like to be spontaneous. Even after 6 years, I'm always trying to keep him on his toes and not be too predictable. And you know, I'll keep it G-rated, but you know, I will introduce things and I will do things just to make sure that he understands that I'm still the man that he met from day one. It's so funny. Relationships are a puzzlement to me. It's still uncharted territory for me because think about it. The normal algorithm of a relationship is it's this beautiful flower. Oh my God, I love you. I love you. There's nothing I would change about you. That's year one. And then as the years progress, you already know what's coming. You gotta,
There's nothing I change about you.
You gotta watch every petal of that fresh flower start to drop off and wilt to the point where you're sitting in a pile of mud like, how the fuck did I get here?
Ooh wee.
It just sneaks up on you.
Let me make sure I have my face right.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
This ain't what I signed up for.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you do when you're sitting in the middle of the shit like, God, dog, what is happening here? What do you do?
You have to find somebody who is equally yoked to you in emotional intelligence. I'm an avid believer that if an argument... See, it's one thing to know somebody, when everything is wonderful. You find out a lot about a person when they're in an argument with you. Do they shoot below the belt to try to annihilate you? Or do they at least fight fair? Do they let you get your point of view across? Is there a bunch of cursing? You ain't this! You know?
Yeah, I couldn't deal with that.
I couldn't deal with that either. Or is it just a calm conversation like this where you're having a disagreement, but we're talking as calmly as you and I are?
Right. That's how I am.
Yeah.
If I have to raise my voice and argue, I don't need you.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm at a place in life where I'm well mature.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, nah, I'm not in my 20s or the 30s. I'm not doing that no more.
Yeah.
So yeah. And you know, my wife, she I guess sometimes that gets her like, what's wrong with you? Be a man, just yell, say something.
Yeah.
Nah, we don't argue. I'm not having that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
What do we talk about? What's the problem? She's like, why are you so damn nice? I'm like, hey, I'm at a different place in my life. I wasn't always there. You know?
Yeah.
Words matter.
Words matter.
I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
You say what you want to say. What? Abada. House gone. Damn. Damn, on the side of the road. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back? No. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn. So I learned the hard way. Words matter. And sometimes I want to say something, and you know.
Yeah.
It's
taking that breath. That's where the magic is. If you just take a breath,
and
people I just thought.
When you say something hurtful, you can't take it back.
Yes.
They may forgive you.
Yep.
they may forgive you because they love you and they want to keep it, trying to make it work with this negra. And, but the thing is, you hurt them.
Yeah.
Cut. You stabbed me.
Yeah.
I thought you would protect me. But I forgive you. But when you start coming back with that same energy again, the next time around, now you got a response. You got a reaction. And that's not good, because they begin to, I can't even think of the words, but anytime you start bringing that energy, anytime you raise your voice, or what?
Yeah.
That trigger, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point to where you want to change, or you start, and you're like, what's wrong with you? And they already know you acting like this. And then you got that kind of, and once that starts happening, it's hard to reverse it, to go back to how it was before. Yeah. So the second time around, I'm like, nah. And so even when I'm like, oh, and you just think, and I'm like, you know what? Let me get back to you on that. Yeah. You know, I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not falling into that trap.
Does your wife try to provoke you? Is she a yeller? She's like, why don't you yell at me? Does she try to provoke you?
When we first started, she's not a yeller. That's one of the reasons why we just mesh. We just get along. Yeah. But she's Colombian.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Hot-blooded, spicy.
She's, she'll, but she's not that type, but she's got a little bit in her, like, if she has to doing. Be. Yeah. And I'm like, it's okay. We can get past this, whatever it is. Let's talk about it. You feel this way? Okay, why do you feel that way? And then I'm just like, let me get back to you. Let me process it. Yeah. I don't want to say something stupid. The first thing you say, and then it's like, that's forever. Yeah. And they looking at you. You remember you said, I didn't mean it, Yeah. So think about my words before I put them out in the universe. But I wish I would do that when it comes to myself. I used to be, I'm the man. I'm going to do, yeah. Now it's just, I'm humbled and, it's trying to get out of that belief again. You can do it. You are smart enough, you good looking enough, you're maybe not tall enough, but you the right size for where you're supposed to be, You're not too dark. You're not, all of these things that we deal with, the insecurities. So it's just, I'm falling on the other side. So
it's so funny that you mentioned that. So what I do to kind of beat my psychosis down internally, my internal dialogue or internal saboteur, is I have to manifest them as a whole different entity, like a different being that's having a conversation with me. If I feel like it's just an internal voice, it's hard to combat that. But for me, what makes it a little bit easier to diffuse is I make it a separate person. And it's like I'm talking to them like you, and they're saying all this negative stuff to me. I'm like, okay, thank you. Cool, that's cool. And I'm non-reactive, but what it does, it allows me to divorce myself and to look at my psychosis from the outside looking in. Because when you're caught up in the emotion of things, it's hard to see things clearly, I
get it.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
And then when it comes to the relationships, and you talk about your wife, I pride a good relationship on a Beyonce lyric.
Which one?
There is a song called Dance For You. It's a sexy song. I used to love to get my lap dance.
I thought you was going to say Surfing on That Wood. I was about to say, that's it. That's the key. No, I'm just playing.
No. No, that too. But it's a song called Dance For You.
Dance You.
Dance For You.
Dance For You.
Yeah.
I think I know that. Is that work my body, work my body?
Yeah. I want to put my body on your body.
Yeah,
Cause it's about to go down. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a sexy song. But she said something that blew me away, and it just kind of burned itself into my psyche. She said, I want to keep it exactly how it is, so you can never say how it used to be. I was like, she gets it. That's what I've always wanted from a relationship, where, like you said, to keep things fresh and to keep from ever having to go down that road where you're just talking to each other any type of way. There was a time where I was emotionally inaccessible to people because my fear was that Too much familiarity will be contempt. You will penalize me for getting to know me more, and thus you'll start talking to me any type of way. So thus, to keep myself new, I thought the answer was to distance myself from them. Obviously, that didn't really work. But emotional intelligence, that is the secret. If you get somebody who's just as evolved as you are, you can get through anything. It just is unfortunate that the average person has not been taught how to effectively communicate and how to effectively argue. So that way they understand that, okay, the person I'm talking to, I may be mad with them, but I do not hate this person. I love this person. So I'm going to be careful as to what I say, because as you said, once they say it, you can apologize for it all you want, but there's certain things you can't take back. You called me fat. A woman will never forget.
Yeah. Hey, but you're not fat. You're just a lot to love. Nah, I'm just playing.
Secret, if she ever says, does this dress make me look fat? It's like, you look fucking amazing. I don't know what you're talking about. So you're like, what?
Exactly. You're not fat. But yeah, well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
It didn't even seem like a show. I just love talking. We're just going to keep on going.
Yeah, it was fun.
Matt didn't even chime in today.
Oh, did you chime in?
I didn't need to. You guys are doing great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, let's do a second one because there's still so much to talk about.
I'm down.
All right.
I'm down, for sure.
Right. You heard it there. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. I don't even know what to call you now because there's so much more. And it's Saya, but is there anything else that is like higher? We just talked about, we got deep today.
We got a little deep.
We got deep. But ladies and gentlemen, Saya.
Hey.
Anything you want to plug or tell them about or where to find you before we go?
Okay, I feel like so shit. Yo, yeah. So you want to check me out on Simon711 on the TikToks. Check me up on the YouTube, Simon711. I mean, no.
But is it Simon 711?
It is Siamese. So Siamese 711. Siamese with a Z. So think like the cat, but with a Z versus a S. 711. So that's like my TikTok. That's my YouTube. I try to make it universal so that's easy to find. Okay. Siamese 711. I do have a song that's supposed to be coming out. Our goal is to get it for the EDC festival. It's called Taking Over the World. It's like a rock EDM type of ordeal.
Oh wow! When is that? The EDM.
Oh, electronic dance music.
Right.
Yeah.
When is it? The festival.
Oh, EDC. No.
EDC.
That's I think like May, June, give or take.
Really? Okay. Yeah. So it's okay.
Yeah, but that's like I'm talking about manifesting stuff. Musically, that's like what I want, and I have like 2 songs that I've written on my iPhone, by the way. I went and recorded it in the music studio, and I'm proud to say that I finally have like 2 songs in particular. I'm like, Dad, if you ever had to personify or have to say who is Siamese as a performer, these 2 songs are going to say it. Okay. So I'm happy to have that in my arsenal. So it's still a work in progress.
Okay, I can't wait to hear it.
For
and
sure.
You got a band, right? You did with the band, or?
Oh well, yeah. So they're all kind of dispersed right now, but it was Siamese and the Alley Cats.
Okay. Were they here in Vegas or no?
They were, but yeah, they're gigging like somewhere overseas and doing stuff.
So if you wanted to do something now, where would you do it? Like, who would you use musically? Because I'm like, I want to go in the studio. I have a song, a rock song that I want to do.
Okay.
In the next few months, and I need a band or find musicians to put it together.
Oh, I'd be starting from scratch. Like because I would pride myself on having older musicians because I am a kind of an old head, or if I say, okay, Mel Torme, like I want people to know what I'm talking about. Right. So I had older musicians. Part of the trade-off is, diabetes sets in. I literally had like one of my bass player to cut his legs off. I was like, oh,
what?
Man.
Really?
Because
both of them?
I think I had the gout and diabetes or something going on. So, when your body's over 100,000 miles, the car starts to break down.
Well, that's we got to wrap up, but that's a point we need to talk about too. Health. Diabetes. Stay off that sugar. You love that sugar. He gonna cut his foot off for that sugar.
What do you mean I got a touch of the sugar?
Yeah, right. yeah. Sugar is not good for you. Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I hope that you go and check out Saya on TikTok. He is entertaining videos and YouTube. Saya. Siamese with a Z. 711.
Yes, sir.
On TikTok and YouTube. Check him out. And hopefully we'll see him back here on Words Matter. I'm your host, John Maurice. Love always. Peace. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Words matter. with John Maurice. Mm-hmm.